What's up? It's been a fat minute since I came on here and I've talked about everything that's going on in my life, everything that's going on with the agency. And moving forward, I'm going to be posting every single week on here, just kind of behind the scenes of the agency, how I'm growing my business, the ups and downs of everything. And also just the behind the scenes of what's going on, the cool stuff in my life as well in general, outside of the agency. So just wanted to come on here, give a little bit of context before this next chapter of posting, because now I have a six-figure agency, which is crazy to say. I live in San Diego, in a pretty nice spot, and actually in a month and a half, or like 7 weeks, I'm gonna move into one of my dream apartments in downtown San Diego. So that's gonna be another cool chapter. And the last month or so, I've just been doubling down, posting every single day on my Instagram, just trying to build my personal brand over there. And YouTube complements that side of things very well. So it doesn't matter to me if this gets 10 views, if it gets 20 views, if it gets 50 views, 0 views, I don't care. I'm just doing this for the documentation and to be able to look back on, everything that I've done in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. That's really the goal with posting for me on YouTube, at least. And I just want to kind of give some context, like I said before, I jump into this next chapter, because things are going to start getting crazy here in the next year or so. In terms of the agency, in terms of everything I'm going to be doing. So yeah, like I said, right now it's August 9th, 2026. And I want to take it back to January of 2024. Actually, you know what? Let's go even back further. Let's go back to June of 2023. So 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago, June of 2023, I had just graduated high school, and I spent that whole summer just traveling, doing cool stuff with my friends, etc. And my plan was to go to ASU. I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, that I wanted to have my own business, but at the time I was just kind of stuck. And my only option was to go to college at that point, in August of 2023. And so I decided, hey, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to go to ASU. It's a decent school. I'm going to basically go there just to party, have fun, the whole college experience, etc. And what ended up happening after 2 weeks, I tell my dad, I'm like, hey, I gotta get the loan for college. And basically what he said was like, hey, look, if you're going to be going to college, it doesn't make sense for you to go to ASU for 4 years when you can go to community college for 2 years. This freaking mic. When you can go to community college for 2 years, and then after those 2 years, go to a better four-year school and graduate from UC Irvine or UC Berkeley or whatever it was. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Why would I go to ASU just to party? So essentially, I left ASU, and then my dad was like, hey, you know what? Do online community college and go to Europe for 3 months. So I traveled Europe for 3 months, and it was definitely the coolest, most life-changing, eye-opening experience that I ever did. And I would strongly urge anyone else, if you have just graduated college, if you're 18, 19, 20, like, you need to travel. Because when I traveled and I went to all these countries for 3 months while I was doing online classes, 3 months, I went to Europe, I was 18, and I met so many people. I put myself out of my comfort zone. It really changed my life and how I view the world, because I was just forced into this independence. And I also think it's one of the reasons why I was able to start my own company and become an entrepreneur, was because of that trip. Because I wasn't in this bubble of college. I was out in the real world traveling by myself in Europe for 3 months. So I did that. I went to a whole bunch of countries, met a whole bunch of people, and I was doing online school at the time, like I said. And I came back, and this was like January 2024, and I got a job at a restaurant. So I was working at a restaurant, and then like as a busser, and at the time I wanted to get money. I was like, all right, I got to stack more money, etc. I was making like, I don't know, $30, $40 an hour. So at the time it wasn't bad. Like that was decent money compared to a minimum wage job. And I started stacking money from that. And then I was like, oh, I can get an internship. So at the same time, I got an internship at my family friend's general construction company, who fast forward now, they're one of my clients, funny enough. So I was interning there for like a couple months, like 1 or 2 months, just doing random stuff. So at some point I was interning at one company, at like a commercial general construction company. And then I was working at a restaurant for like 30, 40 hours, probably 30 hours a week. And then I was also doing school, online school, in community college. So I was doing like all this stuff at once. And you know, I'm sure you know the feeling of like when you're just working your ass off, you know, you're working all these jobs, you're stacking a little bit of money, but you're like, damn, I can barely pay my bills. You know, like I'm only making 3, 4, 5 grand a month and I'm working my ass off. I was working like 50 hours a week. Not even like 50 hours a week plus schoolwork. And I was like, damn. Maybe a little bit less, but the point was I was working every single day and I was like, damn, like I'm only making like 4 or 5 grand a month. And like, I hated my life. I was like, there's gotta be more. Like I'm working these jobs, like it's so unfulfilling. I go and sit down, get paid by the hour. All I'm looking forward to is my paycheck. I hate going into work. It's so boring. Like I was so confused because I thought that, you know, if I was making decent money, it would solve all my problems. And this was leading up to May. So like January to May was when I was working and doing all this stuff. May comes, May 2024. One of my family members in France was really sick. And then my friend at the same time wanted to go to Europe and do a trip. So I did another trip to Europe from May to like July. It was like 2 months in 2024. While I was doing online college. So I basically quit my jobs, the internship and the restaurant. I quit them because I'm like, dude, I'm not coming back to this. I'm gonna go start my own thing. Like, screw this. So I started building out what was at the time like my first marketing agency online. You know, I built the website, I did the logo, I did everything, right? Everything that you can do online except actually going after clients. So I spent weeks building out that agency because I had the offer, I had the business model, I knew exactly what I was going to do. It's very similar to what I'm doing now, but I just basically did everything except going out to get clients. And I thought I had a business. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to get clients. I have a website, da da da. And what ended up happening was I did that, and at the same time, I basically went to Europe. So I put everything on pause. I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Europe for 2 months. I'm gonna travel, you know, it's summer, etc. I was just living life because I had no bills. I was living at home at the time. And I did that. So I went to Europe again for like 2 months, visited family, traveled around with my friend. You know, we went to Ibiza, we went to Italy, or no, we didn't go to Italy. We went to Croatia, Amsterdam, France, all these cool places, and it was dope. But funny enough, while I'm on those trips, I'm like, you know, this is cool. Like I'm exploring the world, I'm seeing it again, but like, damn, it's like I'm broke. You know, I want to do this when I have money. I want to do this and like actually do cool things. And I was like, damn, I want to like go back and work and do something. And I was telling my friend on the trip, I'm like, dude, like, don't you feel like you could always be doing more? Like I felt like, you know, I always had this feeling, this freaking mic, man. I always had this feeling, maybe I'll just switch it. I always had this feeling always like from a young age that like, you know, I could be working, especially since I graduated high school. I was like, I need to be working harder. I need to be doing more. I always just had this itch in me. Like every second I wasn't working, I thought it was a waste of time. Or every second I wasn't doing something productive, I thought that it was just this waste of time. And so while I'm on that trip, I'm like, damn, like, all right, this is cool. Like, I think my head's clear. I got to figure out what I really want to do. So I wrapped up that trip. I came back, went on a cruise, like with my friends. I went to Canada with my family, etc. I just traveled for like 3 more months. traveling, I think, is the best thing you can do when you're like 18, 19 years old and you're just trying to figure out what to do with your life, because it really opens up your eyes to the world. So I did all of that, and then I came back, and this was like August of 2024. So 2 years ago, which is crazy. 2 years ago, I'm like, man, you know what? I'm still doing online school at this point, no job. I'm like, man, you know what? I really like fitness. I really like health and fitness. And I was like super obsessed with eating healthy, etc. at the time. It's like, you know what I want to do? I want to become a fitness coach. So I started posting every single day. I didn't miss a day on social media. I think for like, I don't even know, like six or 7 months. 6 or 7 months posting every single day. I got millions of views on TikTok, on Instagram. I got like, I don't even know, a couple thousand followers on TikTok. I was posting content every single day. So I learned content, I learned social media. And you know, this part of the story doesn't even talk about all the way back in 2020 when I made money online, but I'll save that for another time. So I was posting every single day, and this was like from August to January. And you know, I didn't really know what I was doing when it came to the business side, or like how to actually make money. I made like a couple $100s off like TikTok shop, right? Nothing, but I knew how to get attention. I knew how to get views. I knew how to do all that. And so in January, I think it was January 2025, a year and a half ago, I found this guy online who sells like fitness coaching mentorships, like basically teaching fitness coaches how to monetize their business. And it was crazy because it wasn't even like a thought in my head, like the investment for the program. I think I had like $20,000 to $30,000 to my name at that point, and just because all the money I'd saved over the years. And I dropped, I think, 7.5K. I jumped on a call. I was watching this guy's stuff on Instagram and YouTube for a while, and I jumped on a call. I paid 7.5K, no hesitation, on my credit card on my credit card. Of course, I paid it off because I had the money, but no hesitation, spent $7,500 out of like the 20 or 30 that I had at the time on this mentorship. I didn't even fucking blink. Like any money that I knew I was going to get an investment back on in the future, I was like, let's do it. Like money wasn't an issue, right? So I invested that 7.5K, and then the next like month and a half, I still was trying to, you can go back, you can literally look at all the videos on my YouTube channel of me trying to build my fitness coaching business. And I did it for like a month and a half, probably 2 months, maybe like two and a half months. And then I was like, damn, okay. You know, it's hard. And basically around the same time, one of my old coworkers from this gym that I used to work at, we saw each other at the gym. I started talking to him, Pierre. I started talking to him. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm doing this marketing stuff. I'm working with this marketing agency. We need help with social media. We need help with videos. And I was like, bet, like, you know, I do that. Like, let's go. I know social media. So they hired me. And this was like in May of 2025. So about a year and a half ago. They hired me. And then I was, for like a month or 2 months, I was like trying to figure out, do I want to do this agency thing, or do I want to do this like fitness coaching thing? And essentially I was doing both for a little while. And then I think around the same time is when I dropped out of school, because I was like, I'm not doing school. Like, everyone I was working with at the agency, they all were college dropouts, and they all were making, you know, good money, like 10, 15, 20K a month. Obviously the agency we were at was doing a lot more than that, but I was surrounded by all of these entrepreneurs. Like, everything I consumed was entrepreneurs. So I was like, there's no way I'm going out of college. So I dropped out of college, put college to the side. This was like April. And then I was doing this marketing thing, and I started just gaining a bigger role in the company. And I saw the opportunity and the potential in the business. So I kind of put the fitness stuff to the side. And what I kind of realized after, the main thing why I quit the fitness stuff was just because I realized how simple it was. Like, it's so low IQ. It's just very, very low IQ. It's very basic, you know, eat, go to the gym. It's like monkey stuff, right? And, you know, when I was doing this business, when I was working at the agency, I was learning so much about business, and, you know, fitness was like like I'm not really passionate about fitness. I learned that I was really passionate about the business side of things. And kind of what I realized was that that passion for the fitness just died in like a month or two because I kind of grew past it. I kind of just grew out of it. And so I stopped posting. You know, if you notice on this channel, I took a break from posting for a couple months. I just stopped posting. I was busting my ass off at the marketing agency. You know, we were closing deals. We were scaling the shit out of that agency. And basically from March, like for, you know, basically March of 2025 until January of 2026, like 7 months ago, I was working at that agency, just busting my ass every single day. You know, I learned really how to sell and talk to business owners that are 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, you know, 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs. Like that's all I was surrounded by, right? So I learned how they think, I learned how they talk. And more importantly, I just learned the entire business in general, right? I already knew social media, I already knew, you know, marketing, I already know how to make money online, but I learned really like the ins and outs of specifically this business, this agency model, right? So like I said, from March until January, I took everything in. I was doing sales, I was doing operations, I was, you know, posting content, I was doing the ads when we had to, you know, I was doing like everything, right? We were all doing everything. It was a startup. And so I wore all the hats in the business. And it came to a point where this was December of last year, so like 9 months ago. It came to a point where in December, Pierre, the guy who brought me in, basically split off from the company I was with. And it was like ended on very bad terms. And, you know, I kind of saw both sides of what was going on. And I just decided that, you know, I saw both sides and I was just like, all right, you know, I've done a lot with this company. They've taught me a lot. I'm very grateful for them. But I kind of realized that there wasn't much more room to grow personally for me when it came to, you know, just the cap that I was at, mostly on the financial side. And so I was like, all right, you know what? Like I can do this by myself, right? I only need to get this amount of clients to replace the income, and then I'll be able to have my own agency and basically do whatever I want while working a fraction of the time. And so in January, I basically decided to quit that job like on a whim. Like literally I made a decision in like a couple days. It came to my head, and once I have something in my head, I need to act on it fast. Like I'm the type of person that just needs to act and make a decision quick, because I need to be fast when I think, right? They say you need to make decisions fast, and then you need to, I don't know what the saying is, but I made the decision very fast to quit working at the agency, like I said, just to do my own thing. And pretty much what happened in January, I quit, and then 10 days later, I moved down here. So I quit and signed a lease for this apartment, and I moved down here in January 31st. And I had zero income. I had zero clients, zero income, and I was almost planning on getting a job. I don't know why. I was almost planning on getting a job, which thank God I didn't, because my skill set was way too high to get any sort of job. But I came down here, and this was basically, you can say officially I started my agency like February 1st. So about, it's August 9th. So I don't know off the top of my head if that's 7 months or 6 months ago, whatever that is, February to August. That's when I got my first client. And I basically moved down here, I signed this lease, and you know, I had living expenses saved up like probably 10 months. Like if I didn't work for 10 months, I'd be able to survive. So I didn't do it with zero money. That would have been a completely different story. But I didn't actually need to pull out any of my money from my investments because I grew this so quick. So essentially I came down here in February and March. I did nothing but cold call. I did nothing but cold call for this right here, sitting right here every single day. Like I made almost 1,000 cold calls, which I could have done way more, by the way. Could have done way more cold calls, but you know, I just didn't. You can always do more, right? Made almost 1,000 cold calls in those 2 months. And then I basically scaled from 1 client to like 4 clients in March. And then how many clients did I have in April? Maybe like 4 or 5. And then, so February got my first client. March, I had 4 clients. And then April, I scaled up more. And then April, I made like 6.5K in revenue, which I hate talking about these numbers. Like, I'll never share this stuff on my Instagram or anything like that, just because number one, I know that, you know, it doesn't matter. And I also know that I can make, you know, there's no limit, right? So, you know, when you tell people you make a certain amount of money per month, they like put you in this category. But it's like when I had 1 client and I was making, you know, $1,500, $2,000 a month, I acted like I had 10 clients or 20 clients, right? So it doesn't matter how much income you have. It just matters, you know, what you're doing every single day and the mindset that you have. And that's how I was able to scale from starting my agency in February. I scaled all the way up, did 15,000+ in May. And I was like 10 clients back then in May. And now it's August. So fast forward like 2-3 months later, now it's August. I have like 5 clients right now. And I've kind of just been chilling. Again, I don't like talking about my income, but just for the documentation. Since May, I've just been chilling around that $8,000 to $10,000 a month range, which is solid, right? Like, it's still a solid income. But the craziest part is, you know, people will work their entire lives just to be able to make 100 grand a year, or make like 15K a month or 10K a month, or like I literally scaled. I started my business in February 1st. You know what? Let me just show the Stripe for anyone that doesn't believe me. I literally started my business. All right. Hold on. Let's see if I can do this. So you can see right here, right? 15.4, I don't even know if you can see that. 15.4K May 2026, 6.5 April, 4K March, and then 0 in February. And then last couple months, obviously I'm at 0 this month because it's a new month. But last couple months I've been at like 8 to 10,000. And it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Like, I made 15 in May, in like 3 months into business, 3-4 months into my business, and I've already made 15,000, and like 12,000 of that was profit. So, you know, people can talk about numbers. The only thing that really matters is profit. 12,000 of that was profit, by the way. So over 70%. And this is my 3rd month in business. And honestly, the reason why I'm starting to document and post and just be organic, or like just be open and not care, is because I need to be more transparent. I need to be more vulnerable, because I know that's going to help me get to the next level. So full transparency, like since May, and I think I've posted some videos in May, but since May, I've just been chilling. Like, honestly, I've just been chilling, you know, obviously taking care of my clients, working, but since May, I've just been chilling. I haven't been going after any new clients. I've taken like a couple calls. I really just haven't been working. And honestly, it's because for the first time in my life, I'm not dead broke. Like, I can actually do stuff. Like, I do whatever I want, you know, like I have money, a lot of money saved, and, you know, I have a nice source of income. And, you know, I think it's good that I've enjoyed the last couple months, you know, goddamn, making this amount of money. But now it's time to take this seriously, right? Like, I'm talking, you know, by the end of the year, I'm going to be doing 20,000 a month consistently, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. You know, the goal is to, I don't know a financial goal yet, but, you know, I want to be making good money from this agency within the next year. And by good money, I mean like over $50,000 a month consistently. And, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that I can do it, right? I already did the hardest part, which was starting from fucking 0. Like I said, I scaled from 0 to over 15,000 in like 3 months. Baby stuff, right? Like baby stuff. I was shocked. I was like, damn, this is really how easy it is. It's not easy, but I think in the moment it's always hard, but looking back, it seems easy, right? Like, I'm like, damn, like it only took me 3 months to make 15,000. Like, you know, that's not like a crazy amount of money by any means, but you go to the average person and you talk about making 15,000, 12,000, 13,000 a month. That's pretty fucking crazy, right? Most people in my apartment complex here, I mean, I don't know, maybe 7, 8, 9 grand. And they're like 40, 50, 60, 30, whatever years old. I'm 21, I'm a college dropout. And, you know, this isn't to talk about 15, like it's nothing, you know? And the money really doesn't matter to me. You know, what really matters is, you know, the money is just a byproduct, right? What really matters is building the business, building relationships, taking care of my clients. Like, you know, the most satisfying thing the other day, I literally, like, I looked at my Google profile, you know, I have like 10 reviews, which isn't crazy, but like I said, I've only been in business for like 6, 7 months. And, you know, all my clients, right, just leaving good reviews, 5 stars, boom, I posted all my recent client or some of my recent client wins, some reviews, etc. Like, I was like, damn, like, you know, that's what gets me going, right? And the money is just a byproduct. And, you know, this is baby stuff, right? Like, this is baby stuff. My plan is just to scale the hell out of this agency over the next couple of years and then, you know, use that cash flow for something else, right? Because honestly, this agency model, don't get me wrong, right? I have a lot to learn. I'm always learning every single day. But, you know, it's not the end all be all, right? Like, this is just my first business and, you know, I'm going to learn a lot. I'm going to scale this thing. And, you know, my next goal is just to be able to scale this to the point where I can kind of almost be out of the day to day. And then just use the cash flow from this business to do other things, right? Other businesses, maybe invest in other stuff, etc. I don't really know if I even want to take this business to like 100K plus a month consistently yet, but we'll see, right? That's very far down the road. I'm just kind of throwing out all my thoughts here, but yeah, this is nothing, right? Like, I've no problem. The only reason why I've been slacking these last couple months, like I said, it's because I've been chilling, right? Like, it's honestly scary thinking about how much further I could be if I didn't take my foot off the gas. Because like I said, when I started getting a whole bunch of clients, like in April and in May, I took my foot off the gas when it came to the sales side, which is what it is, right? You got to enjoy life. And, you know, that was the first time that the last couple of months have been the first time I've been able to just really like relax a little bit and, you know, make money at the same time. So it's been cool, you know, playing with this baby stuff. But I know that, you know, I have the skills, I have the business, I have the ability to have a lot more clients and help a lot more people with our services and our business, right? So that's the main goal, is just bringing this to as many business owners as possible. And, you know, I already know, like, it's kind of embarrassing that I'm, you know, I'm saying right now I'm making 8 to 10K a month. Like, that's embarrassing, right? Because I know I can be making way more than that. And like I said, is it about the money? A little bit, of course, but, you know, money's whatever, right? As I've said in so many other videos, you strip me of all the money. When I was broke, when I was starting out, guess what? When I was making $0 in February, I was waking up every single day at 4:30 in the morning, every single day. Maybe not every single day, maybe like 80% of the days. But I was waking up every single day and just grinding my ass off. And, you know, that's what I'm gonna do. It's time to reset. And today's Sunday, so this week is gonna be killer, but it's getting me fired up. And this is why I need to document, not only to hold myself accountable, but also just to show the entire journey of the agency. So this video is just kind of me throwing my thoughts out there. But over the next couple weeks, like I said, I'm gonna be posting every single week. And, you know, I'm gonna do a lot more technical stuff when it comes to behind the scenes of what I'm doing for my agency, how I'm getting my clients, how I'm fulfilling these clients. Because, you know, I've been doing this for over a year full time. almost 2 years now. So I know the game, right? I've worked at a 7-figure agency. The agency I was at before, we had 70 clients at one point. I was managing I was managing all those clients. I was the account manager for all those clients. So I know the game, to say the least. And now it's just time to double down, or I mean, I'm doing 0 right now. Now it's time to really go harder on sales, because like I said before, the hardest part is going from 0. And if I went from fucking 0 to 15K a month with 10 clients in like 3 months, now with the leverage, the sales systems, the processes, the knowledge, the reviews, all the leverage that I have built up now compared to when I started back in February and January, I just know that if I take that same amount of intensity and hunger to this next phase, it's gonna be game over, right? Like, I already know in 2 months, or let's just say by the end of the year. By the end of the year, completely different, right? And that's how you have to be as an entrepreneur. You have to level up every 6 months. If you look at me 6 months ago, I was a completely different person, right? When I moved just down to San Diego, I was different, right? I was low-key, I was more hungry back then, to say the least, because I had nothing. But, like I said, you're starting from 0 every single day, every single month, you're starting from 0. And that's just the intensity that you have to have, because in business, you can do this. Like, anyone can make 15K for 1 month. Like, it'd be such a shame if I were to just make 15K a month and then my business were to crumble and I were to do something else. But that's not going to happen, right? And I'm just fired up because, like I said, getting the first couple clients is extremely hard. But now specifically, now that I have the cash flow and more capital to allocate towards the business, I have a lot more leverage in that sense in terms of investing in my acquisition systems. I have a lot more knowledge and trial and error on the sales side of things, right? I know I have a much more dialed in process now when it comes to taking sales calls, pre-call automations, etc., because I've taken over. For this agency, just in the last 6 months, I've taken I don't even know, honestly. I was gonna say 50, but I don't think I've taken 50. I've probably taken over 30 sales calls, which is nothing. Like 30 calls in 6 months. You should be doing like 30 calls in 1 month, maybe more. So like I said, I just have to do more volume, do more intensity. But now that I have a lot more knowledge than I did 7 months ago, like I said, if I bring that same level of intensity, I'm excited to see what we're gonna do here over the next couple months. So that's what's been going on with the agency. Right now it's August, it's a new month, it's like 1 week in. And plan is to be documenting, posting here every single week, and just going hard on our acquisition. So we will see. I'm going to be posting, like I said, every single week. I'll do another update like this soon, and we'll see where we're at. But goal is just focusing on client acquisition, right? Because I already have a couple clients. I can pay my bills. I'm good. And now the goal is really just scaling and taking it to the next level, so that I can get more clients and have more shit to do. Because honestly, I'm bored. Like, I have nothing to do a lot of the times. I just be bored. So I need more work. I need more stress. I need more problems. I'm just too bored at this stage. So that's why I need more clients. And yeah, that's what's going on. And then talking about, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, but I got a speeding ticket back in March for going over 100 miles an hour, like 110 on the highway. By the way, in my car, which is a sports car that can handle going that fast. So no reckless driving or anything, but there's a new law that they suspend your license for 30 days. So my license is suspended for like the next 20 something days here now. So basically gonna be locked in my house, have nothing more to do or nothing better to do than record content and just sit here all day and work my ass off like I did when I first moved down here. So yeah, that's the goal. And also, I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but I've also just been thinking about it. It's like, man, San Diego is almost too chill. Like, that's one of the reasons why the last couple of months I've just been chilling is because the lifestyle here is so relaxed and so laid back. Like, it's so hard to find entrepreneurs in their 20s who are actually doing well and actually have a business. It's hard. And a lot of people here I'm just meeting are just like chilling, beach, whatever. And so it kind of messes with your mind. You know, it just doesn't like, you know, compared to somewhere like Miami or Dubai when there's entrepreneurs everywhere, you know, money, etc. Like, obviously it's very, what's the word? It's obviously very materialistic, but when it comes to being in an environment that gives you energy every single day, that's where it comes from, is like seeing these entrepreneurs, meeting them, seeing all the cool cars, etc. Like, the visualization of the wealth, like, that's where it comes from. Because, you know, obviously, you know, there's a lot of people who have a ton of money that aren't flashy, etc. But when you're walking around and let's say you live in Miami and you see people every single day who have all this crazy materialistic stuff, it's going to automatically motivate you to do better, right? As a fact. And point being, you know, the blame is on myself, but I will say that the environment of San Diego just hasn't been contributing to growing my agency and growing my business as much as I'd like it to. But that's why I'm going to be moving to downtown in September 30th. So I'm super hyped. I'm going to show it when I move in and stuff, but I'm moving to the newest high rise in downtown San Diego. Now, I will admit, it's not the nicest or the most expensive. It's like the third most expensive and nicest, because the other two were like 50% more expensive. And I was like, this is not worth it. But the one that I'm moving into literally opened 2 months ago. So it's brand new and it's super nice, and I have a nice spot in there. So I'm excited for that. That's going to help just level up my frequency and level up my energy, because the neighborhood I'm in, it kind of sucks as well. It's just, I don't know. I could say all these negative things, but it is what it is, right? At the end of the day, none of that matters. What matters is the inputs that I'm doing every single day. But point being, environment is everything, right? So that's the reason why I moved down here, was because I needed to level up my environment. And that's the reason why I'm moving to this nice apartment complex, because again, I'm going to be spending a lot of my time in my apartment, at my apartment complex, and I need to level up my environment. So that's what's going on. Like I said, it's Sunday. I've just been doing some content today. I had this driving class that I had to take, and just kind of preparing for the week. This week is going to be a big week. All I'm going to focus on is new meetings, clients. I'm going to do so much outreach. I'm going to be ripping cold SMS this week. I'm going to be following up with every single person I've talked to over the last couple months. And, you know, like I said, I'll do an update in a week or two on just, you know, meetings, clients closed, etc. And yeah, because I know if I want to get to the next level, there's nothing I can't do. Just got to put my foot on the gas, right? A lot of people will sit around and say, oh, you know, I'm only making this amount of money. Life sucks, whatever. I know that I'm making this amount of money and I'm in this position that, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for where I'm at right now, but I want to accomplish a lot more. And I only know that I'm at this point because I have not been taking the right actions every single day, right? So it's all my fault. And that's all it comes down to, right? You have to always look inward as an entrepreneur. You have to always look inward. How can I improve? How can I be better? What can I do? What more can I do? Or what less can I do? What do I need to cut out? That's where you really get to the next level. And I'm just saying what comes off the top of my head, right? This is like a 30-minute video. My brain's everywhere. So probably not even making a lot of sense, but you get the gist, right? Not even trying to be motivational. Like I said, even if this gets 1 view, honestly, I would rather this video get like 0 views, because I really don't care. It's just about looking back on it in the future. But weekly videos coming out. I'm fired up. I have a lot of work to do. Also, I have like 4 different accounts now. So I have my personal Instagram, like my personal brand Instagram, which I've been posting on every single day for the last month. And then I have my business Instagram, which is going to be only contractor focused, just focusing on the business, which I'm actually putting together a content strategy for right now. And then I'm going to be starting rolling out videos over the next, every single day for that account. And then on the long form side of things, I have this YouTube, which is like my personal behind the scenes YouTube, which is what I'm going to be posting on every single week. And then I have my contractors YouTube, which is essentially for all of my pre-call assets, right? So I have a YouTube page dedicated to contractors and just all of the things that we're doing, all the knowledge I have, and I'm just dumping that on to YouTube to number one, build that up and hopefully in a couple months be getting organic leads from YouTube, number one, but also number two, leveraging that for, you know, clients that come into my sales funnel so that before calls, I can send them out YouTube videos specific to their situation, right? A video like, hey, this is why Facebook ads don't work for contractors, or this is why Facebook ads, whatever, right? Why Facebook ads don't work. This is some results that we did, etc., right? All these pre-call assets that I'm sending out to these people so that they consume more content and can get as warmed up before the call as possible, right? So those are the four different organic pieces of my content funnel that I'm going to be posting on, right? 2 for the personal side and then 2 just straight for the business side. So yeah, that's the plan. That's kind of how I got here. And let me see if I can do, before this camera overheats, because this camera always likes to overheat. Let me see if I can do like a quick apartment tour. So right here, as you can see, we have my desk. We have, this guy is an SMMA guy that used to post a lot of valuable content, and he just posted a new video that I was watching. But got my desk right here, nice setup. This is all you need, man. And then we got my plants for the Zoom background, and then no TV, no couch. The last thing I want, I'll tell you this much, the last thing that I want is a freaking couch. I don't want a couch because why would I want a couch? There's literally no point. Like, tell me this right now, it's like 6 p.m. on a Sunday. I could sit down at my couch for like the next 2 hours and just be like, oh, it's Sunday, you know, I'm just gonna relax, etc. Or I could force myself to sit at my desk and be more productive. So that's why I don't have a couch. And like I said, this has been the spot for the last 6 months or since I moved in. But the new spot, I knew it was a temporary spot, which is why I didn't really do anything. Like, there's nothing. I literally don't have a bed frame. Like, I don't have much in here, simply because I knew that it was going to be a temporary spot. But my new spot is going to be friggin' decked out. Like, I'm gonna deck that place out. Because I'm assigning a 15-month lease. So on that 15-month lease, number one, right, I'm gonna stay there for at least 15 months. So that's a freaking long time. And yeah, I don't know. I'm probably gonna stay at that one for a while. So I'm gonna deck that place out. I'm excited for that because I'm really gonna have like an apartment that I actually feels like home, because I'll be honest, this place just feels like a warehouse, but it's all good. You know, it's all you need. You know, the thing I'm looking forward to the most is, well, I would have one like here or something, but at my new apartment, I'm gonna have a mini fridge with like a glass door, and it's gonna be like a drink fridge. I'm gonna have like Celsius, Bloom, like a whole bunch of drinks. I've been looking forward to that for a long time. I've always wanted to have a drink fridge. But anyway, this is the spot. I've showed it a lot of times on camera. Not very exciting. So, like I said, main goal over the next month, especially because I'm locked up at home, can't drive, it's a good excuse to just double down on sales and content and kind of everything that I've been putting off. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Connect with me on Instagram. I post every single day on there. And yeah, looking forward to ripping over the next few weeks. Let's go.